Let's go.
All right. So, let's go back to the questions here. So, what's your name and where you're from?
Jamel Harris, a.k.a. Mr. 716 Big Miz, representing Niagara Falls, New York.
So if you could describe Niagara Falls to people who've never been here, how would you describe it?
I would say Niagara Falls is definitely one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's a very underestimated place, and it's a place that definitely needs new developments. But you know, it's a place where people struggle. Definitely poverty is here, desolated, you know, lands and properties and such. But you know, we're here to change the demographic of that movement.
What's the craziest thing you ever saw growing up in the Falls?
Oh man, so many stories I can. Matter of fact, I'll start with a story right here behind me in the Holloways. Actually, I was a shorty. I was about 15 years old.
What year was that?
That was 1993.
Okay.
In 1993, maybe even 92. 92, right here in the Holloways here. So a couple of guys that I know, my boy Sean Person, Mike Hill. Shout out to those brothers. But it was a situation here. I really don't know what the whole gist of the you know, the drama was, but I was outside, I was hitting a lick, man, and dude got his stomach blew out right in the mid corridor of the Holloways. It was crazy. Some guy from Rochester got his whole midsection blew out with a shotgun. Boom. I mean, I'm like, I mean, it was just crazy. I mean, I'm still hitting the lick, but I'm boom, and you just, man, I mean, blood. It was just crazy. That's like probably one of the craziest things that I've actually seen, besides having a couple people die right before my eyes. Yeah, man. Yeah, I am, for real.
What's it mean when someone hits a lick?
Hitting a lick means you making a drug transaction. That's what was a slang for. So you hitting a lick. You know, right here, this alley right here, this alley is crazy, man. There's so many different things happen right here in this alley, right on this strip, this whole strip, Niagara Street right here. Actually, this is Fall Street, you know, and man, I mean, from the pimps to the hoes, you know, the prostitutes, the gamblers, the hustlers, the killers, the murderers, anything you wanted to see as far as like an act of violence or just something that seemed unrealistic as a movie, that was Niagara Falls. This is the Nasty Falls. That's my nickname for the falls. I call it the Nasty Falls because everybody here took some type of nasty fall. Actually, in life, everyone has took some type of a nasty fall. But that's a slogan I came up with for the, you know, the name of the town, Nasty Falls. A lot of people refer to it as the Dirty Waters, but Niagara Falls, New York, man, this is it. This was the east side, man, where you had to actually come through the east. Back in the day, if you was somebody, if you was about it, if you was like a known name, you had to come through the east side right here, and you definitely had to come through the Holloway to make something shake.
So how did it get the name East Side?
East side, it was, I mean, this is the south end of town, so I'm not really sure why they call it the east side. It's something that I just grew up knowing, that this was the east side because we had the 10th Street Park, so they used to have the east side basketball, baseball games, the basketball games at the park down there. No longer have a park down there no more. The 10th Street Park is gone, and several other parks, as you can see, we standing on dilapidated lands. They was actually supposed to build a mega mall through here many years ago, back in the 90s, but it never happened. But yeah, the east side is just, I guess that's the separation of the town, because you got the east side, then I guess the Linwood, Michigan, Willow, all that, that's prevalently known as the Midtown area, the section of the town, and then, you know, on the other side with the Ontario and over the bridge, they call that Highland World. So yeah, they broke the falls up in this little small circle. They divided it in 3 little pieces.
So this was the area you grew up in?
Totally. Right on 14th Street, but 13th Street is where I did all my stomping, ripping, and running. 1101 across the street from Miss Cavers is the building everybody know me from, though.
What was it like when you were growing up out here?
Hard, man. It was tough, but as a kid, we played and we did things as real kids. Like, we still pop wheelies, rode bikes, still played kickball, baseball, basketball, had lots of activities, after school programs, a lot of different things that we could engage in. We don't have any of that today.
You hear a lot about New York City and Los Angeles and about like what they went through when they got hit with the crack epidemic. Did the crack epidemic ever hit Niagara Falls?
Did it? Oh man, 1988, 89, that's when I really first jumped off the porch. My Uncle T-Shay, Uncle Bidock, Sam Speed, Chester, Dexter, Sam, everybody know my uncles, the Harrises, the P's, you know, that's my family. Denise P, my mom, Gregory Harris, that's my father. But man, the crack epidemic hit Niagara Falls, and I mean, it just swept everything. I mean, this is all of this area that you see around me. There were actually homes and businesses, legitimate businesses. I mean, established businesses, local businesses, and the crack epidemic just came through and just took all of that. I mean, it took everything, the houses, the homes, our people, our families, and made a lot of crack babies.
Why do you think people get involved in the streets?
Product of your environment, you know, product of your environment. You know, like myself, I was a good kid playing basketball for LaSalle and a little bit for Niagara Falls High School, because I went to both high schools, you know, but I graduated LaSalle. But, you know, just not having nothing to do with a lack of, and everybody was getting money, you know what I mean? That's what it was. If you wasn't getting money, you wasn't nobody. And I believe that's why the crack epidemic went even harder, because it was like guys like myself that didn't come out of a fortunate, you know, upbringing, you know what I mean? It was difficult. You know, my mom's had me when she was 15 years old. She was a hustler, a scrambler, a gambler, you know what I mean, and did whatever she had to do to take care of 3 seeds, me, my sister Shalonda, and my brother Taiwan. You know, I also have another brother and sister, Demetrius and Eloise. That's with my pops, but my mom's and my pops was hustlers, you know what I mean? So I guess basically what creates, you know, people to get into the game is being a product of their environment. If everybody around you getting money, selling crack, looking good, you trying to figure out, yo, how they doing that? How they doing that? How is he driving that car? You know what I mean? I got my car from working. I didn't have a Mercedes when I was in the game. You know what I mean? I work for what I have now. You know, I did a 7-year bid. You know, I got locked up in 1994. It was basically an attempt of a robbery is what I was charged with. It was really an assault. That's the, you know, the cop out that I took. They gave me 2 1/3 to 7, 2 D felonies. I copped out. They ran them concurrent, and I did 6 years. So I did from 1994 to 2000, you know, locked up. Yeah, man, so basically Niagara Falls was the hub where you had to come to actually back in the days in the the late 80s, early 90s. This was the hub where everybody had to come get their work from, period. You had the big players like Michael Lee, Tyrone Stewart. Oh man, there was so many. Big James Rufus, you had Johnson, man, you had Big Mike from New York, Big Q, Quincy, rest in peace. I mean, there was so many heavyweight players that you actually had to come through here. Arthur Lee, he ran the weed in the Holloway. Big Art Lee, he ran the weed, but people didn't know the ties of all that was mob ties, you know what I mean? People had ties with the people in the mob in Niagara Falls. That's why it was set up like that. The boys that was from the heavy hitters from Rochester, Buffalo, at once upon a time, this was the hub where you had to check in to come get your work. And that's a known fact. Right here in Niagara Falls, right on East Falls, right in that bar. It was going down heavy, heavy. Shout out to the lynch mob too. Tino, J-Ball, Frank Ned, Footer, all them boys. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? It was serious. Matt Gully, you know what I'm saying? So many, my boy B-Dub, Darren Scott house right there, man. It was just lit, man. It was lit, you know what I mean? Everybody was doing it up. My big homies though was my boy Faz Break, you know, Mike Johnson, you know, Tony Bennett, rest in peace to Tony Bennett, man, the richest young dude that ever was in Niagara Falls. You know, I believe he passed away in 91. That might even been the summer of 90, but he just had graduated. They killed him. That was a tragic loss to the town. They shot him in the head in Unity Park, found him slumped over on his Maximum. He had a kitted out Maximum with beats in it, the illest car in the town. He was only 19 years old, probably 18 when he first got it. But yeah, man, some stuff happened. I don't really know what went down, but man, yeah, they found Tony slumped over right in the middle of Unity Park in his car, man, slumped over the wheel, shot in the head, man.
What are some of the, what is work?
Work, that means work is crack, coke, dope, work, anything referring to drugs. That's what work was. You know what I mean? So everybody had work. That was the thing about it too back in the day. It ain't like this little funny style, the way these boys got this game now, which I don't encourage nobody even be involved, but the guys that's playing in the game now is nothing like when guys was doing it back in the days. Guys was real millionaires getting that work in. For real, for real.
So what would you say is the biggest difference now between then and now?
Money. The money you can get, the money you can accumulate, the money that you can stack and save and put away from that game. That same money is not in these streets no more. You see what the crack game did? Tore these streets to nothing. Salute your hood.
What are some of the most infamous cases that happened when you were young in the 80s and 90s in Niagara Falls?
Definitely the death of Tone Bennett. Definitely the death of Robert James Robot. He got stabbed in the heart at the liquor store right down there on 15th Street. That's a dead-end street. Robert James, he got stabbed in the heart. I mean, there's so many tragic deaths, man. Louis Ubillis, the way he died. Joey Medley, the way he died. Joey Cracks, the way he died. All these people died the way Fran Schott died. You know what I mean? And the way so many young guys are dying today. Gun violence. But it's all over. Everybody trying to be the man. Everybody's trying to get a dollar. You know, but we live in a crab in a bucket mentality, man. So everybody's trying to pull you down when you coming up. You know? Falls Town.
How would you stop gun violence?
You can't. You can't stop gun violence. Everybody want a pistol because people want to feel protection, especially now the way it is nowadays. You got to look at it. You know, you see it. You young boys is ice grilling you like what? What? You know what I mean? You know, so you know it's just man. It's sad, man, but gun violence, you know, I think there's control that can come with it, with, you know, the way that they police the laws and things of that nature, but this Niagara Falls, we got guns like Chirac. So everybody got guns. Guns is in every urban community got more guns than they probably add up like the military, man. It's crazy. You'd be surprised some of these pistols and this gun work that's out here, man. Boys got firearms. Y'all see it on the news, you know, and people call Niagara Falls a small little beat down city, man, but people ain't playing over here either. You know, they ain't playing in the falls. You know, these young boys out here nowadays, Buffalo, Rochester, they crazy. You know what I'm saying? They killing each other, man. Stop the violence.
So when you travel out of town and you tell people you're from the falls, what do they say?
They don't believe me. That's the first thing. I don't know why, but they don't believe me.
They don't believe you that you're from Niagara Falls?
They say, Niagara Falls? Like, that's the person say, Niagara Falls? You from Niagara Falls? I've been to Niagara Falls. A lot of people think Niagara Falls is Canada, or a lot of people think people live on boats, out mansions in Niagara Falls. It's funny, out of state, people think you rich, but when they actually come visit the city, the inner city of Niagara Falls, not Niagara Falls, Canada, they see an entirely different side of the falls. I mean, right now, you know, per capita, we the worst state, the worst city, actually. I mean, in New York State, that's not a good look. That's not a good look. I mean, look at our population. How the population is dwindled down drastically, and per capita, we're the second worst city. They said the first, but I see the second first worst city in New York State. Sad.
What do people in the falls think about the police?
They hate them. You know, they hate the police. But, you know, the police have a job that they're supposed to do to serve and protect. And there's times when people really do need the police. So I believe what really needs to happen with the involvement of what the police beliefs are, with the way they have people stereotyped, and what people in the community do as far as the way they have the police stereotyped. I think you have to find ways to break that barrier and start finding ways to work together. That's why I kind of got into the mentoring thing, working with the kids. You know, it shows yourself in a different light, in a more positive light, and you know, you get less heat. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just a different light. Plus, you know, when you grow older, it's time to get up out of that crap. You know, you got to raise above what the norm is, and the norm in Niagara Falls is to sell drugs to get money.
What do you do to keep your kids, I guess, away from negativity that would be, I guess, in Niagara Falls that could draw them to a negative?
I always, something my dad always told me to do. Talk to my kids. Keep a word in their ear. Encouraging words always play out in the mental if you start early, from when they little and babies. And because my son Mozzarotti Harris, my oldest, he's 18 now. He's a star basketball player for Cardinal O'Hara and an honor roll student. So I'm looking at me being a product of my environment where I came from, and the change that I made since I've been home. I think him not seeing me indulging in these streets was a way to show him a different lane, that you can do it from working hard. You know what I mean? And staying dedicated and being a motivation chaser.
What do you think Niagara Falls needs to improve?
Definitely jobs first. Jobs, because with jobs you can give people opportunities of employment to make money, and when you produce money inside of your, for people in the community, that gives us leverage to build up the community. So I think more job opportunities is something that we need to see in Niagara Falls in order for us to really see this thing grow and sprout, and people taking ownership of now owning property versus wanting to rent. You know what I mean? But the only way a person can get to those type of platforms is if they have an opportunity. Niagara Falls hasn't done that. I mean, nothing against Mayor Deister, but you know what I mean? Everybody just looks and see what the seat of a mayor is, and I've done things from work for the city for 10 years and dealt with the mayor to even trying to take my programs to the mayor, and nothing was ever accomplished. You know what I mean? Nothing was ever accomplished. So I think that's what I'm saying. The powers that be, the people that claim they have the delivery to give the key to the city, those people need to step up and step down into these inner city streets, not just in their own communities, because we know LaSalle is looking good, DeVoe is looking good. You know what I mean? Town of Niagara is all right. Nobody's building nothing in Niagara Falls. We do have the Workforce Development Center that they're working on right now at 7th and Niagara Street. So maybe this is a step towards doing something, but you see where the big money going to, straight to the casino, right in front of us. That's where all the money is at. I mean, if you look at this city, look at this strip right now, but look at that building right there. It's crazy.
What causes violence in the Falls, do you find?
Hunger, and more hunger. People starving out here. Like I said, no job opportunities. They're finally about to bring minimum wage to what, $15 I'm hearing? But at the end of the day, if we don't have any jobs within the community for people to make money, what you think gonna happen? People starving, people hungry. You know what I mean? I work check to check to check, and a lot of my life I've done that. I've had to work check to check to check, and sometimes still have to sacrifice the different things to be able to do other things. You know what I mean? But it starts with opportunities, and work opportunities is what we need in a big way in the Falls.
So I guess that kind of goes to the next question: is what would you do to reduce the crime rate in general?
Definitely offer people jobs. If you put them in jobs, they're not going to be feeling poverty. You know what I mean? Like, people live at the welfare office, man. You know what I mean? And it's a shame. You know what I mean? You should be able to go check into an employment line versus a welfare line. Especially now, we in 2020. We're approaching 2020. We still living like it's the 80s in the Falls, man. For real, that's what I mean. Everything's gone. Nabisco gone. All the major plants and companies that we had, all of them have left this city. You had new people coming in trying to make money, but they from the outside in. This is not people within our city doing this. People had to come from California, Las Vegas, and all of these other big cities, even Canada, you know what I mean, to come buy things to help develop things here. Why is that?
Is Niagara Falls different now or the same as when you were younger?
It's very different now. The mentality of the people is changing now, but the conditions are the same. The conditions are the same. Nothing has changed as far as upbringing, you know, the upbringing and the upkeep of the community. There are no job opportunities here. There are really no opportunities really for much of anybody to do anything, especially a young kid. I actually mentor kids. Do Better Together mentoring group and Do Better Together music group are two of my businesses, but DBT mentoring group, you know, we work inside of the Niagara Falls school system with 7th, 8th, and 9th graders, and we found out of, I would say, about 800 students that only 3 students out of 800 want to stay in Niagara Falls, and it's all because they hate the smell. It's a dirty, dingy area, it's nasty, and it stinks. So one thing I do want everybody to pay attention to is my movement, DBT Music Group. We working with a lot of artists. If you're an artist with talent, you can feel free to get with me. I'm at Mozzarotti Harris on Facebook and Instagram. That's Mozzarotti Harris, Harris. And also I need everybody, and that's everybody watching this, to go to my YouTube page and subscribe. Mr. 716er, that's MR716ER. Subscribe to my YouTube page. This is something that we trying to do to bring leverage to the table. So you support me, I can be able to support others as well. And also, Motivation Chaser is my clothing line. Kings and Queens in Niagara Falls, they have my wares available. You can also reach me on IG to place pre-orders. We have custom-made jogger suits. I normally would have one on right now, but I wanted to get this interview out to the people, and I appreciate my man Joel, man, very much.